I'm here with my dear brother and teacher and friend and hermano, Wachan. Help me with your last.
Bahio Perak.
Bahio Berak. Thank you, hermano.
Because
Um, and we're here in his beautiful temple. You can see the altar behind us, this beautiful temple that's built in love, by love, with love, and the love and knowledge of this beautiful man. So I'm so grateful to be here and share with you some of the wisdom of this special place. We are in Kaikai outside of Cusco, about 40 minutes outside of Cusco, at the mouth of the Sacred Valley, in this sacred and beautiful place surrounded by these powerful apus, the mountains of Peru. And so we want to talk about Ayni today. I'm gonna ask John if he'll bring us in with a prayer, a beautiful prayer in the tradition. He speaks so beautifully; it opens my heart every time. And then we'll talk about Ayni, and I'd love for you guys to send us some questions. We can see people are coming in right now. This little light. Hello, Cynthia. Great to have you here. So we love it when you guys say hello and let us know where you're calling from. And if you have any questions, please type them in the chat and we'll answer them. And without further ado, hermano, would you
yes,
bless us as we proceed in this talk?
completely.
Thank you, brother.
Please let's just close our eyes. Let's take a deep breath. Let's just connect with the divine right now. Hatung lapu ortikila taksila kocha pachakama pachaya chachi kuna puncho no kai ko ki kuna kuna ko ke suma ko sekipi suma ya chay nikita chaski kunaipa suma ya chay nikita ke suma runa masikunawa suma patakana ko nai kopa taita inti taita yai kanchay nikiwa kanchay kwai ko ke suma nampi suma taripa ipachama puri risako kuskaya. Godfather, Godmother, we thank you for the water that we drink. We thank you for the air that we breathe. We thank you for the sun that rises every day, bringing us life, love, beauty, power. We thank you for our beloved Pachamama, Mother Earth, who is the source of our lives. Hanyanya, Hanyanya. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
When you play your instruments, when you sing the Icaros and give your blessing, I feel the vibration and energy. And I can see one time, Wachan and I were in Saksai Woman, Saksai Woman, which is a temple above Cusco, an ancient site, and huge rocks, huge
boulders.
assembled in an amazing way. And when John and I were there, and one of the park rangers came up and said, "Oh, this is how they built this place. And they gave us the sort of scientific explanation of how they moved these rocks up this hill with pulleys and logs, and we went through this explanation. And then what John, after the park ranger left, he turned to me and said, "Brother, we did it all with sound and vibration. And when you pray and when you sing and when you play your instruments, I feel the power of that sound and vibration so beautifully."
Thank you, man.
Thank you, brother. Well, first of all, before I ask you this question, I just want to acknowledge all these beautiful people that have said hello. Hadia from France, Ishan. Hey, okay, we're back. We're back. Sorry, everybody. We're in a remote location, so we're having a little connection problems, but it looks like everything's been resolved. So I hope you're all still here. Thank you for hanging in there. So thank you, everybody who had sent in the chat. The chat that you sent before is so I can't see everybody that wrote in, but thank you all for writing in. And so we're going to continue this conversation. So I was asking Wachan if he would share with us a little bit about the tradition of the Ayni.
Basically, Ayni, the word Ayni, is the spirit of the ancient civilizations here on the Andes. So Ayni is the reciprocity of giving and receiving. And obviously, this is something that we have learned through the medicines.
Yes.
Thousands of years ago. So what we feel in this time of life is that modern generations, we are great takers. We take and take and take all the natural resources to the point that we won't leave almost nothing for future generations. So here on the Andes, we practice the Ayni. So the Ayni is based with nature, with Pachamama. So Ayni is the reciprocity of giving and receiving. It's like breathing. in and out.
Hmm.
So Ayni is an energy that moves life. Because if you just take and take and take, you don't give, you are stopping that energy, that flow of life. So that's why for us it's very important to practice that reciprocity of giving and receiving. So we must learn how to give and how to receive. So this is the way that we have been living for generations. So let's say when you take one tree, you put two trees back or three trees back. So, and also when we go to take our food, we just take enough what we need. So we have to live also for the rest of people and also the animal kingdom.
Yes.
So something beautiful about the ancient cultures is that our ancient ones, they have lived with love, harmony, and respect, which we have forgotten in this time of life. But we are still doing the work. This is our work of every day, since the moment that we wake up to the moment that we go to sleep. We live with that consciousness of living in connection with Pachamama. So as I was telling you, thanks to the medicines, myself I work with Wachuma or San Pedro. So the medicines, they gave us the consciousness that Mother Earth is a living organism.
Yes.
She's alive.
Yes.
And she has feelings. You know, it's like when you talk to a tree, you feel that connection. And you can relate with it. You can communicate with it if you are really open
Yes.
in your heart, in your mind. And so that's why, for example, before we drink water, we always pour a little bit to Pachamama. So that's that reciprocity of gratitude. The same thing with the food. You know, before, when we cook, we prepare a little plate, and the first food goes to her, to Pachamama, and then we just place it outside. And of course, the birds and all the animals take care of it, you know, because they are the conductors
Yes.
of Pachamama. So, Ayni is a spirit that we need to rise, we need to remember how to live with Ayni. Because if we live with Ayni, we all would prosper.
Yes.
So there wouldn't be differences of being rich and poor.
Yes.
Because the spirit of Ayni will keep everything in harmony. You just take what you need. Yes.
I remember, well, first of all, really quickly, I want to thank everybody for joining us. And Reverend Michael is with us today and saying hello to Wachan and
Hola,
Siwar. Hola, Rev.
Hola, hermanito.
I met Wachan and Martika through Reverend Michael and Agape, and I'm eternally grateful for that.
We too were very grateful
Yes.
for our brother Michael, who does a
Indeed.
great, wonderful work.
We love you so much, Rev. And Jeannie Tucker from Tucson, hello, hello. Ken Harris, thank you, brother. Thank you for the good work you're doing, Ken. So one of the things on one of the trips that I had come and to visit with John, we were with Mamo Alejandro from the Kogi tribe in Colombia.
Sierra Nevada.
Yes. And everywhere we went, whatever town we went to, we would stop and make a pago or a despacho.
Yeah, what they call pagamento, payment.
Yes, and this is part of the Ayni.
Oh, completely, you know, because, you know, what Mamo Alejandro sees is that we pay our bills, of electricity, water, um, TV, whatever we pay in our daily lives, but we forget to make that payment to nature from everything that we take. So Mama Alejandro taught us to be on that relationship of making your payments to the source of life, Pachamama.
Yes.
So in that way, we are on that harmony of giving and receiving.
We would, and it would be, it could be a prayer. We could leave. I remember we left maybe a little statue or a symbol or even part of our body.
Yes.
Anything to acknowledge the ancestors of the land that we're entering,
Mm-hmm.
thanking the land for the richness that it gives, the water, the sun, the ancestors of this place. And this was a powerful way of walking through life. I imagine if we walked through life like this, if we could incorporate in our North American lives the consciousness of not just saying a prayer before we eat, but remembering to honor that food came from Pachamama, and and all the synchronicities and serendipities that had to occur for life, that life supported us. Someone had to plant that food, someone had to harvest it, someone had to buy it, and somebody had to build a road and a truck, and the driver had to take the food to a store, and somebody, all of the things that it took to get that food to our plate is honoring. This is part of the Ayni.
Of course.
So it's such a beautiful tradition. I want to open this up as we continue to talk. If anybody has questions for Wachan, Kelvin, hey brother, great to see you. Catherine, hello from Maine. If anybody has questions, please type your questions into the chat and to receive this beautiful wisdom from Wachan. Wachan, the way that you move in and out of these worlds of the modern world, and the ancient world. I remember Wachan and his wife Martika and their daughter Siwarkente coming to visit in Los Angeles. And here we were on Abbot Kinney going to get pizza, and he was dressed just like this, and it was, can you imagine flying and just feeling the power of this beautiful being? But how do you navigate the modern world, modern technology, and maintaining your connection with the ancient wisdom and tradition?
Well, first of all, when you are deeply grounded, when your roots are deeply grounded, it's like a tree. When the roots are very deeply grounded on Pachamama, nothing will break it. It will move. It will be flexible, but will be always connected with the source, with Pachamama. So I've been very lucky to grow in this place of the world. It's a blessing for me to have been born on this holy land. So since early childhood, I've been encouraged by my parents to be who I am, not to pretend nothing else, but just be who I am. So no matter where I am, I have to practice what I have learned here on my roots, no matter where I am, because Pachamama, Mother Earth, is the same everywhere in the world.
Yes.
So the wind is everywhere. The sun is shining to all of us everywhere. So that's the source of life. So I am very grateful for that foundation that I have learned. So I just have to be myself, not pretend nothing else, And this is not fashion, but it has a lot of meaning. Our clothing as well, For example, when I travel, I wear some kind of clothing that has been prepared for me by the elders, because the colors that we use, the way, the weaving that we make, it's based on protection.
Mm.
Not protection from the bad or the good, but just to keep you focused, in who you are and what you do in life.
Would you decode some of the things that you're wearing?
A little bit, yes. For example,
Let me turn this down. There we go.
Here, this design, which is Loraipa, we call it Loraipa, and this represents the divine eye.
Mm.
So we don't pretend to act. Whatever we don't do for the eyes of people. We do it for the eyes of the divine.
Mm. Beautiful.
So we cannot go inside this room and hide ourselves and do whatever you think it's wrong or right. So everything that we do is for the divine eye. So we are being watched. And so our connection, our relationship with the divine is open. And that's the way how we live every day in our lives.
How would you see? I'm going to turn. Oh, okay, we're back. Woohoo! How would you? You have a deep rooting here, and you wear things that remind you. They're touchstones that remind you my actions are for the eyes of God, or this form of protection and keeping in connection. One of the questions that we had was, how do you form this great? Let's see, where was the question? How to create a deep and grounding connection with deep roots? How would you recommend for those watching, for them to create a connection with the divine in this way and practice the Ayni in their daily lives?
Something that we have to understand, that growing is a process. It's a process. First we are born babies,
Mm-hmm.
then we become to be children, infants, and so on. That's the process of life. So we must follow that process. So when you follow that process, it gives you foundation. What we see nowadays is like, what we see is about the fast food mind.
Mm-hmm.
That you want everything now. And we know that spirituality is a practice of our daily life.
Yes.
So we are growing every day. So spirituality is a daily life practice. So as we are growing, we are really learning and practicing ourselves about the magic of life. And basically recognizing yourself as a unique being in this universe. It's like a tree. A eucalyptus tree doesn't pretend to be a pine tree. A eucalyptus tree is proud of being a eucalyptus tree, and it's standing strong and tall. But in the same way, we have to really honor and accept ourselves just the way who we are. Sometimes we see someone impressive, or some movie star, and sometimes we're even acting like them. We are trying to be something else that you are not. So you get in a big trouble when you're pretending to be something you are not. But when you are your high self, when you are yourself, then you are present. Everyone can recognize you, who you are. And of course, this ancient practice of Ayni, I believe it has been practiced by all the ancient cultures around
Yes.
the world. So, we call it the solar societies. So, in the golden times, uh, this wisdom and knowledge has been shared among all beings from that time of life. So, and I feel that by being yourself, you are connected with yourself. You are happy with who you are. You are not struggling. And so, in that way, you are capable to share your gifts because each one of us, we have some special thing to share with the world.
Yes.
So, if you really connect with yourself, you have something to share with the world. But nowadays, we are very insecure about ourselves. Because it's basically what I see, it's because the kind of education we have. You know, we have the feeling that what they call education has been already like studied, programmed. So in that way, they can take away some part of us. So we are not our own. It's like it seems that the system governs our minds. Like with fashions, like fashions for winter, for this, for that, the clothing that come out, how you should look. So they put you in model, how you should act, how you should speak, how you should be. But when you really are free, you are who you are. You don't pretend nothing else. And of course, the Ayni is and something. It's an experience that you need to practice.
Yes.
So you will feel it. You will feel it. When you begin that relationship with Pachamama, with Mother Nature, when you practice that Ayni, you will feel that your life is really merging. Something wonderful is taking place. Because you are aware that everything that surrounds you in nature, they are not just objects, they are alive.
Yes.
So that brings the consciousness of Ayni.
I love what you shared because it is um, so much an expression of both agape and rythmia. Both organizations, rythmia and agape, are intended to blend ancient wisdom and modern technique. And agape's purpose statement is to be a conscious community in which individuals can realize their oneness with God. And through that expression of anchoring into their oneness with God, we, as you said, we shift from that outward kind of like a radar scanning for cues that will secure our belonging. And now we're going to the secret place of the Most High within, the altar of consciousness within. As you were sharing, this is a practice. Rythmia, the intention of rythmia is that people catch a glimpse of the divine, catch a glimpse that there's something beyond our senses, what we can touch, taste, feel, and verify, right? And the hope is that people glimpse that. But as you know, with all ceremony, half the work is in the ceremony, the other half is after, where you bring your daily practice. So at Rythmia, we and Agape are both focused on meditation, prayer, health, treating the body temple, taking care of the body temple as practices for bringing this awareness of the divine into our daily life. And now Ayni is another practice that we can bring into our daily lives. And as you so beautifully said, it's a growth. The nature is our teacher.
Yes.
And so we look to nature and see the process of life. The bud of the rose blooms, it blossoms, it comes to fullness, and it fades away, and a new one comes. So we too must grow our awareness, our consciousness. And we do that through our daily practice. Mm-hmm. So thank you for that beautiful wisdom, my brother.
Yes.
There's another question. Someone is asking about He said, "Is that a flying monkey behind you? And what does it represent?" Well, we know it's not a flying monkey. Would you tell us a little bit about
Yes.
what you have, and maybe we could actually show the rest of the altar?
Yeah.
Okay, but let's start with the condor, correct?
Yes. So basically, everything is a symbolism in life. So first of all, many people from many kind of religions, um, they have an ideal of God. So the Christianity, for example, they represent God with Jesus, and so the Hindus with Buddha, Krishna, and so on. So here in the Andes, our belief is that God is a vibration.
Mm-hmm.
You know how God manifests in this life, that God is alive, is through vibration.
Yes.
So that's why the way how we connect with God is through vibration. And that's why our songs, our Icaros, are very important.
Yes.
Because that's the way of connecting with God, through vibration. And we have that magic in our voice, because sound is the essence of creation. And so we have a symbolism here in the Andes. And our belief is that we belong to these three levels of consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
which is the upper world, Hanakpacha. Hanakpacha represents the condor. Kpacha is this now, where we are living.
Mm-hmm.
So before I want to go to Hanakpacha, Hanakpacha is the house of the moon, the sun, the stars, and also our planet Earth. And the consciousness of Kpacha, this now, it represents the Puma. The Puma.
Let's
The
see.
mountain
Okay,
lion.
we're going to.
Yeah, this is the Puma.
Do you see the puma in the background?
Yes. And so that is the meaning of this now, of this world. And Uhupacha is represented by the snake that's going around the condor.
Can you see the snake going up the pole to the condor?
Yes. So those are the three levels of consciousness that we belong to. Because the snake, the Amaru, represents to the underworld. The spirit world is underneath us. So we belong to these three levels of consciousness. So basically, what I mean with it, for the belief of our society, of our people, the source where we came is the stars. So we are star people.
Yes.
And our ancestors had a great connection with the Pleiades. So the legends, they say that the Incas came from the Pleiades. So they came here to this planet. And that's why all the wisdom and knowledge they brought and the technology they brought is something that's a challenge, even these days.
Yes.
To the science. Science is developing so much every day, but people cannot build another Machu Picchu or Sacsayhuaman yet, because you need high technology.
Yes.
To really manifest that amazing buildings. So we have no doubts that our ancient ones had a direct relationship, with the star people. And going to that level, for example, the Nazca lines.
Yes.
The Nazca lines, I don't know if some people are familiar with it, but there are drawings on the on the deserts. And these drawings you can see just from the space.
Right.
And so just to make the designs, you have to be on the space. And these drawings have been done thousands of years ago. So just recently, just like 7 years ago, some looters, they found mummies of humanoids in the Nazca lines. There are some beings that are like 80 centimeters. The biggest one is 1 meter and 20, and they have 3 fingers on their hands and also on their feet. And the structure of their skull and their face is like many people painted. So, the Peruvian government doesn't pay attention to it. Almost nobody wants to pay attention to it. They think it's fake.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason they don't want to accept it because they have fear. Because if they accept and they know that that the people have been living with these humanoids, it will change the story of humanity.
Right.
So, because basically we believe that all the history of humanity and the history, including from our background, it's just done. Because first of all, no native people have written our history. All the history has been written by foreigners.
Mm.
So they write what they think, what they believe, which has nothing to see with what is true about us.
I love that. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, yes.
You talked about vibration
Mhm.
and sound.
Yes.
And this ancient belief is now coming into modern consciousness through quantum physics that states that everything is frequency and vibration, light and sound. So it's so beautiful to see this merging, that the most advanced thought and thinking of Western civilization, of North American and European culture and civilization, is now confirming what was known and held by the ancients for all these years. And so it's just beautiful as you were talking, I'm thinking, as you were describing the three planes of existence and vibration and sound. And the other piece that I love about the altar, and these are touchstones, these are places where we can go to remind us,
Yes.
of our beliefs and to remind us of our connection with the divine. So another practice to bring into your daily life is to create an altar in your home, create a sacred space in your home. And I actually did a video, by the way, called How to a Directional Healing Altar. It's on Rythmia's YouTube channel. And it tells you, based on the ancient tradition of Vastu, which is the Hindu, it's like Hindu feng shui. It's the Hindu architectural order, balance, and harmony, how all of the ancient Hindu temples were built. And so you can build your altar based on some of those traditions. You can find, is there any place where people could go to learn more about these traditions so that they can maybe incorporate some of the ancient Andean traditions and Inca traditions into the construction of their altar?
Yes, I guess nowadays, especially Discovery Channel, it's just very interesting the work they're doing, and because especially with this program, the ancient aliens, our ancestors, for many people it could be like science fiction, like, but for us it's a reality that there's no doubts, and we live with that consciousness. That's why in our ceremony, especially with Wachumita, when we do our ceremonies with Wachuma, we really can connect with the star people.
Yes.
And so, so our altars are based, with the vibration of each element. Elements from Mother Nature. You see the rocks from the mountains, the meteorites. For example, the rocks of the deserts, and for example, the roots of the rainforest, some kind of seeds. Because each of these elements, they have a high vibration.
Yes.
When you really can feel. So when for example, this altar is filled with wachuma because I work with it, so I can feel that vibration of the elements, and also the crystals, and some metals, like gold and silver, and we have to know that, for example, here in Peru, I don't know if you went to the temple of the sun in Cusco.
Yes.
So there's a story that they say that the temple of the sun, the walls were covered with gold.
Yes.
The Incas, they didn't see gold as material that represents to the wealth, to rich. Basically, the frequency, the energy of gold is reawakening something inside of you. So the story says that in this temple of the sun, there was a big and golden disc. And they say that it was made out of gold, but this gold was not just from this planet. They gathered gold from other planets as well. And they created this big disc, and some people would stand behind the disc, and somebody would hit it, and these people would disappear. They travel in the universe through that vibration, travel through the time. So for many people, it's just fiction. And so it just depends really where is our state of mind.
This reminds me of something that Reverend Michael spoke about a couple Sundays ago at Agape service. He was talking about paradigm blindness, that the eyes cannot see what the mind cannot conceive. And so as you're talking, it makes perfect sense. You have a concept of this vibrant, living, throbbing life all around us, in, through, and as everything. We talked about the portal at the Moro outside of... Yes. This was a portal where John shared a beautiful story about this. It looks like a door in the mountain, and it's just solid rock, but there are many stories of people disappearing into the mountain, into this portal. And as you said, at the Temple of the Sun, hitting the disc, and people would disappear. And the humanoids at the Nazca lines, all of this is in your mind, and so you can see it. And sometimes, for some of us who didn't grow up in this tradition, the plant medicines really help us.
Oh, completely.
To see what to help shift our paradigm so that life becomes more alive to us, beyond what we can sense and feel. There's something in back of it, So this idea that you've been steeped in this tradition, and so it's easily conceived of and easily seen. And for those of us that grew up in a different tradition, the plant medicines really assist in opening us as well. And not just plant medicines, but places like Agape, where people can begin to recognize their oneness with God. I mean, that's the whole point. The only lack that we need correct is a sense of separation from God.
Oh, completely. And I'd like just to comment a little bit.
Yes,
You've
please.
been here with Mamo Alejandro.
Yes.
We made a journey to Pisa.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember.
Of course.
And so when we were walking on Pisa, Mamo Alejandro asked me that there is a place up on the mountain
Yes.
to make a payment. And he said, there is a place here in Pisa, and this place is a round place, and it has 3 windows. Can you please take me there? And, I'm from Cusco. I've been, working in Pisa almost all my life. But when he asked me about that place, I couldn't get it. I didn't know it. And then Mama Alejandro comes and says, can I take you there? And knowing that was the first time that Mama Alejandro was visiting Peru. So I was blown away and said, okay, can you please take us? So he led the group, and then he took us to that place. I was never been on that place. So he took us there, we made the payment. And next day when we came home, I had to ask Mama Alejandro, is it the first time we said, yeah, so how do you know this place? So, because Mama Alejandro was born inside a cave and he was there 25 years of his life. So he told me the story that when he was maybe 10 or so, they do the transportation inside the cave. So he told me that he has visited all these sacred places on the planet. So that's how he had been on that place. So many of us, we don't even understand what's about teletransportation. And look, Mama Alejandro, he doesn't know how to write or read.
Right.
But these people are fed with all the wisdom and knowledge of that ancient cultures. So there's so many practices that we have really forgotten about it. But the great news is that it's within.
Yes.
And something I love about Agape is that Brother Michael helped us to really reconnect with that power, with that divinity that lays inside of each one of us.
Yes.
And so that's why with Brother Michael, we've been working together for so many years, we just love Brother Michael.
Yes, we love you very much, Rev. I don't know if you're still on, but Jason Mitchell's on. Hey, brother Jason. Melissa, hello. Wow, Wachan, what a tremendous conversation with you. And I can see from the comments, so many wonderful comments from people, that it's really resonated with people as well. Is there anything any closing thoughts that you'd like to say?
Yes. So let's just keep things very simple. Because we are such a complicated society nowadays. We want to explain everything, but just feel it. Feel it.
Yes.
Because sometimes the mind wants to explain everything, but there's no explanation for everything, but just the experience. So we need to experience life. We need to experience the power and the harmony of Pachamama. And also, I'm a Wachuma facilitator, and we have here our retreat center. And so I'd like to invite sometime to some people, that are around Cusco, or even now we are planning to go to Los Angeles this month, maybe the 27th, and we are going to be offering some ceremonies. So I'd like to encourage them to experience the magic.
I would love to. What is the website?
Siwarpente is in charge of that.
Okay, so listen, I'm going to post for everybody. I'm going to post the website. It's Wilkesara.
Yeah, Wilkesara.
Wilkesara.com. But we'll post that for everybody to see, so you can check out the work that Wachan and his wife Martika and his daughter Siwarkente do. They have a retreat center here in Peru. You can do sacred tours. They have a beautiful, they know everybody everywhere, get you into places in the ancient ruins that other people can't get into. So we'll connect you with them. And then I'll also repost when the family is up in Los Angeles. So for those of you in that area that would like to Siwa Shan for a healing, or or to work with ceremony. He's a remarkable man, a beautiful soul.
Or just connect, because the medicine is within us.
Yes,
So we carry, the medicine comes in all forms. The medicine comes in form of prayers, in form of words, in form of vibration, the sound, the music. And when they come to Cusco, just being on these holy places, you have a tremendous transformation.
it's true.
Because not everybody is ready for the medicines, for the plants, but there's many ways how we can approach to this reawakening that's happening to all of us.
Beautiful. It looks like Siwa Kente posted the website in the chat. So take a look. Wilkasara, Willkasara, Willkasara.org, to check out some of the beautiful work that this beautiful man and his family do. And I'm just so grateful to you, Wechan.
Thank you, hermanito. I also have to recognize all the beautiful work you do. Expanding all that love, expanding all that wisdom that you are gaining with the time, and just working with agape and arrhythmia, and very, 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 very sure that this is rising the consciousness of people in the globe around the world, and this is something that we need in this time of life, and so that's why we are connected. There's no lack.
No lack.
There's no lack. Everything is just in perfect alienation.
I love you, brother.
I love you too.
Thank you. And thank you all so much for joining us live from Peru. Many blessings. And we look forward to seeing you next week. I'll be back in Costa Rica. Have a great day. Blessings.